So what's your, you ready?
Yep. Yeah.
What's your initial reactions to the fight? How do you think it went?
Oh, look, we've just been debriefing for the last 5 minutes. I've got a sensational team which can only support me and would get me through everything. They're very honest with their appraisal, so I've already got a list of things to work on, but how can you not be happy? Huge win, my first UFC win in my hometown. I'm ecstatic.
Do you give yourself a moment to sort of digest and pat yourself on the back, or is it immediately like, okay, what could I have done better, and immediate evaluation?
Look, I find it hard not to sometimes. I can be very quick to pat myself on the back, but again, when you've got a sensational corner, it evens it out very nicely.
You're obviously not a youngster. I'm a lot older than you, so don't take that wrongly. So how tough has it been to get to this stage of having a UFC?
Look, it's difficult. Yeah, I am entering those years now of not maybe being at my athletic prime, but I come from a very lucky team where we've got athletes that have gone through similar things at a similar stage of their career. So what got to show tonight, as much as maybe things like speed and athleticism might sort out as you go on in your career, stuff like the grind and the mental toughness probably peak as you hit this stage of your athletic endeavour.
How was it performing in front of about 50,000 people?
Yeah, that was pretty special. As I anticipated, I didn't notice it as much during the fight. Absolutely noticed it during the walkout. Obviously up there, Kazali was a popular choice here in Melbourne. And look, I got to take that in, which was a really special moment.
Is that like one of those things you dream about, right? I think fans, and young kids are like, oh, imagine the walkout, right? When you do walk out there, just this huge stadium, the fans are obviously going crazy. Is that almost a dream moment?
Oh, it's something you couldn't even imagine. You play off in your head how it might feel until you actually do it. I planned on maybe walking out there in a little bit more of a controlled, somber atmosphere. As soon as that song started playing and the crowd started singing, I couldn't help but sing myself. You know what I mean? It's an amazing experience, and I feed a lot of that positive energy. I'm not a very angry-based fighter or a very emotional-based fighter as far as those things. I feed off positive energy, and to say there was positive energy and abundance walking out there, it was unseen.
Do you have to take a moment, because I can imagine you could almost get too wrapped up in it, like fucking yeah, let's go, and get carried away. So do you have to take a moment to compose yourself, like right, game time, don't get wrapped up in it and just do game time? Yeah,
a little bit, but again, because I feed off that sort of emotion, it's a little easier. If I did feed off something like an anger or an intensity, you would have to make the switch. But because I'm already feeding off that positive energy, it actually just builds up what I need. Almost builds up the fuel that I need for that fight. So there's not much of a switch. I just take all that energy, that positive energy that the local crowd, my home crowd, were feeding to me, and took that in the cage with me.
With up there, Kazali, was that just because you were here in Melbourne, or have you walked out to that before?
Look, I've had aspirations of competing in this stadium all my life. It was very much in a different sport, being Aussie rules, and I thought that's a great little marriage of the two sports. I've grown up playing Aussie rules since I was 8 years old, and I had aspirations of playing AFL, obviously here at this stadium. So the song was a G-up to sort of really marry those two parts of my life together, my Aussie rules career and my MMA career.
The words of encouragement from your corner before the third round, what's going through your head?
I'm not sure encouragement would be the best description, but look, they're sensational. I've got an amazing corner with Jamie Murray, Andy Colgrave out of the Ring Gym in Footscray, and obviously UFC veteran Daniel Kelly. What I've got is actually three very different interpretations of how to coach, and it works beautifully with me. They motivate me, and look, to say whether it was positive or negative, you only have to look at that third round. Obviously, I dug deep, went out there and showed what I wanted to do in that third round, and they knew how to get me there.
You took some big shots in the first round and gave some back yourself. How big was being up in welterweight as opposed to lightweight, your durability?
Well, just have to look at that last fight. I got hit with probably, by a smaller athlete, probably half as hard as I got hit tonight, and I sunk. You know what I mean? Being able not to have to cut. The only way to describe it is a disgusting amount of weight to make a weight division. I'm back up to the division I need to be at. I've got to stop getting hit so much. It's something that seems like one of my favourite pastimes. But look, I'm much better to accommodate those sort of punches at this weight.
Given that you've spent 10 years getting up to this point, your debut didn't go as planned. How much of a catharsis was it to just hear your name read out as the victor?
Look, I really played that word redemption into this fight. It was really funny, actually. I thought about it a little bit more this week. Obviously, there was redemption coming from not only my UFC performance, but the more I thought about it, there's a little bit of redemption again with my Aussie rules career. I was a far more talented Aussie rules footballer than I was fighter, but I didn't work 1/10 as hard as I did, so I probably missed my opportunity to compete at the highest level in Aussie rules because of my lack of commitment. And to get to the highest level of the sport that I'm in now, especially at this stadium, there was a little sense of redemption redemption with that too. So not only have I made redemption with my UFC debut, but redemption with my athletic career to show that yes, I can buckle down and I can reach the highest level of the sport that I'm competing in.
How high level did you get with Australia?
I played VFL, which is probably the secondary, the feeder league into the AFL. You know, I captained in the VFL at reserves level as well. I came across some injuries, but again, my commitment to my Aussie rules career was not even in the same fraction as I commit to my MMA. I was far more naturally talented, which sometimes can be a curse when it comes to any sort of sport.
Which VFL club was that?
Werribee. I played a year under Werribee. Yeah, it was sensational. We had some high-level guys there, and I got to play with a lot of guys that went on to play in Aussie rules. And look, it was a great experience. But if I look back now, I wish I had have maybe shown a little bit more intensity, a little bit more commitment to what I did with my Aussie rules. But look where we are now.
You mentioned a few of the guys you played with.
I got to play with people like Dale Morris, who went on to play a great career with Junkie. He was a sensational. You want to talk about people that put the hard yards into their Aussie rules career? He was a great example. I remember in one of the practice matches, actually leading into the career, I actually got to play on Chris Grant when he just came back from one of his knee surgeries. He did sit on top of my head and take a mark, which was sensational. But I got to play with a lot of those high-level guys, and it was sensational.
That's right. Thank you.
4 months ago we spoke and you said you had 2 years left in this sport. Now that you're up at welterweight, you've had this big victory. Do you extend that a little bit, or you still think 2 years?
Look, that sounds about right. Look, it's hard to put an actual number on it. What I'm chasing with the sport, and always my motivation, is making memories. You know what I mean? Like you talk about, I've got a memory now of going out and having a hard-fought victory in my hometown in possibly in front of the biggest crowd of all time. That's a memory. You know what I mean? I'm looking to do that over the next couple of years. As soon as I feel like, I'm not there making great memories anymore, that's probably the time to walk away from the sport.
How fast that turnaround do you want?
Look, I have a little bit of a rest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's been a very troublesome year. We've come up and down from weight, coming back from the thing. What I have said though is when I do come back, I've had 2 great fights now in my hometown. I'd love to travel abroad. I'd love to have the Vegas experience with my team and get a win over in the States as well.